Imagine being the most awkward, invisible girl in school isn't easy, especially when your hair never seems to do what you want, your glasses always seem to be slipping down your nose, and everyone around you treats you as if you're not even there. But what if you discovered that you're not just another ordinary teenage girl, but actually a princess? This is what happens in the story of Mia Thermopolis, a girl who is bullied, ignored, and made fun of by everyone around her, simply because she is so invisible. But what happens when you discover that this ordinary-looking, ordinary-smelling, ordinary everything girl is actually a princess?
You are Amelia, Princess of Genovia.
Me?
Suddenly, everyone around her wants something from her, and she discovers what it really means to be a princess. This is the story of Mia Thermopolis, the ordinary girl who discovers she is actually a princess in this touching film, The Princess Diaries, starring Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews. So stay tuned and go deep through the whole story with us. At school, Mia was well known for her messy hair, thick glasses, and clumsy personality. Moreover, she was constantly bullied by the students at school, and if the number of people who constantly laughed at her were to stand in a line, the line would probably stretch from America to France. One day, she was sitting quietly near a flower bed when a fellow student at the same school intentionally ignored her presence and sat exactly where Mia was sitting, as if she was invisible. Mia was timid and insecure after years of bullying at school. She hated the attention and public speaking. When she attempted to speak up at a debate at the school, the whispers and the laughter of the fellow students at the debate forced Mia to panic so badly that she even threw up in front of everyone at the debate. Life was a series of humiliation for Mia, and she thought she would always be the awkward girl at the bottom of the social ladder. On one day, Mia's mother gave her a surprise as she told her that her grandmother had come to the city and wanted to meet her for tea. However, Mia was uncomfortable with such a conversation, as she had never met her grandmother in her life, as she believed that her mother's separation from her father was because of her. Therefore, Mia had no intention of meeting her. But with the encouragement of her mother, Mia reluctantly agreed to meet her the next day after school. The next day, following the address, Mia went to a huge mansion, which resembled a palace rather than a house. A well-dressed butler greeted her, and she went inside, as she was a casual person. Whereas the place was very elegant, and Mia was in casual wear, tossing her backpack on the floor and slumping onto the couch. She was totally unaware of how improper her behavior was in such a place. Immediately, her grandmother walked into the room. She was a lady with elegance and dignity, and every movement she made was elegant and refined. Compared to her, Mia knew that she was even more awkward. When they were having tea in the garden, her grandmother asked if Mia had ever heard of the Crown Prince of Genovia. Mia shook her head in confusion, but her grandmother went on to explain to her that the Crown Prince of Genovia was her father. She also went on to explain to her that she was the Queen of Genovia.
You are Amelia, Mignonette Thermopolis Rinaldi, Princess of Genovia.
This meant that Mia was no longer an ordinary girl from San Francisco, as she was also a princess, the only heir to the throne. Mia sat there stunned, with no words to say, as the idea of her being a queen one day was totally impossible. Mia was terrified upon learning the truth, and her immediate question was why they wanted her to be a princess, as she could barely speak in front of a classroom full of students. The queen replied that Mia was the only heir, and without her, the royal bloodline would be extinguished. The pressure was overwhelming for Mia, and she yelled, "I don't want to be a princess!" She grabbed her backpack and ran away from the place. When she got home, she confronted her mother for not telling her the truth for 15 years, though with anger in her heart. The mother replied that she wanted Mia to be free from all the pressure of being a princess, although Mia was still having a hard time coping with the truth. Despite Mia's protests, the queen denied give up. A compromise was eventually reached. Mia would spend time learning royal etiquette before the upcoming national celebration ball in Genovia. And after all that learning process, she would make up her mind whether to accept the throne or not. From then on, Mia led two completely different lives. During the day, she continued to be bullied in school. In the afternoons, she visited the queen's mansion to learn royal etiquette. She had to learn how to sit properly, walk properly, and behave like royalty. It was all so exhausting, and Mia felt overwhelmed by all she still had to learn. One of the biggest challenges was how Mia looked. The queen's staff thought that if Mia were to represent Genovia, she needed a complete makeover. A stylist was called in to correct everything from her hair to her posture. Her eyebrows were trimmed, her nails were cleaned, and her entire appearance was changed. When the makeover was finished, Mia looked in the mirror and barely recognized herself. The awkward girl with the messy hair had been transformed into someone who actually looked like a princess. The next day, Mia wore a hat to school to conceal her new hairstyle. However, the teacher asked her to remove the hat during class hours, since it was against school rules. Mia slowly removed the hat. Immediately, the classroom fell silent. Mia's long hair suited her well. The classmates who had previously bullied her were amazed by her new hairstyle. Meanwhile, all the classmates surrounded Mia with curiosity. However, Mia was uncomfortable with the situation. However, she was rescued by her best friend Lily Moskovitz. However, Mia's secret was not a secret for long, as someone let the media know about Mia's royal status. The very next day, reporters and photographers showed up at school with cameras and microphones to get a picture of the new princess. Mia was scared and did not know how to handle the reporters' questions. Luckily, Mia's grandmother, Queen Clarice, showed up and took care of everything. They later found out that the stylist who gave Mia her new look was the one who let the news out because he wanted to claim credit for making a modern princess. After this news spread, Mia's life at school changed overnight. The same students who bullied Mia now treated her like a celebrity. Many students pretended that they were Mia's friends all along. Even Josh Bryant, the popular boy at school, who never bothered paying attention to Mia, asked Mia to his beach party. Mia was thrilled at this new attention and accepted his invitation. This decision of Mia, however, hurt Lily's brother Michael Moskovitz, who always stood by Mia. The beach party turned out to be a complete disaster. Paparazzi helicopters were following Mia, trying to take pictures of the princess. Mia and Josh found themselves in a small hut while trying to hide from the cameras. Josh pretended to comfort Mia, but when they both came out of the hut, there were dozens of photographers waiting for them. Mia, feeling betrayed and humiliated, slapped Josh and ran away. The embarrassing pictures were published all over the media, and it turned out to be a great disappointment for the queen. Mia felt ashamed and overwhelmed. She was thinking, not worthy of becoming a princess. She told Lily that she was going to give up the idea of becoming a princess altogether. However, to Mia's surprise, Lily told her not to give up on becoming a princess. She said, "Being a princess means you have influence and can help people." On the following night, Mia chanced upon a letter from her late father. The father had stated in the letter that courage does not come from the absence of fear, but rather from being courageous enough to move forward in life, even though one is afraid. The words of her father had a profound effect on Mia, as they opened her eyes to the fact that she had been running away from her destiny. The night of the National Celebration Ball was when Mia was supposed to announce to the world her decision. Initially, Mia wanted to run away, but after reading her father's letter, she changed her mind and rushed to the ball, despite the rain and other challenges that came with it. At the ball, Mia stood before the crowd and was nervous but determined to speak before them. For the first time, Mia found courage and confidence in herself as she talked before the crowd. Mia talked about courage, responsibility, and believing in oneself. All this was answered with applause from the crowd. Queen Clarice was proud of Mia's courage and bravery. Furthermore, she crowned Mia with the royal crown, and finally declaring her the Princess of Genovia. The next day during the celebration, Mia especially met Michael in the garden and told him that when she was invisible and ordinary, he was the only person who treated her well. Upon hearing these words, Michael confessed his feelings to Mia and kissed her under the garden lights. In this scene, Mia understood that becoming a princess was not the most significant change in her life. Meanwhile, the truth is that the most significant change in her life was learning to believe in herself and understanding the people who genuinely cared about her. By realizing the fact, the awkward girl who was once bullied by everyone in the school had finally learned to be confident and find a brighter future in life. So that's the amazing story of the awkward girl who rose from being bullied and invisible to becoming an actual princess in the Princess Diaries. Mia's story teaches us that confidence does not come easily and is built over time through mistakes, courage, and believing in oneself despite others' doubts. The girl who everyone once laughed at proved that with kindness, determination, and courage, an average life can be turned into an extraordinary life. Sometimes, your greatest reward and your most precious tiara is not made of gold and precious gems, but your confidence that comes from within. If you loved this story, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing movie analysis and inspiring stories just like this one.